There you are.
All right, we should close that door. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Thanks, Tim. Thank you, Tim. All right, so today's lesson is going to be on how to read a tape measure. Now, I've put some shop talk vocabulary up here for you guys. We're going to be going over what a representation means, tape measure, rounding. Some of these words you guys might have already heard. But we're going to put them in terms for our shop here today. And what the problem with reading a tape measure is a lot of people don't understand fractions and increments. I have some tape measures here. How many of you have seen or used one of these tape measures? All of you have seen them? That's good. Now, a lot of people, like I said, have trouble with the fractions in here. So what I'm going to do is hand out a board here. And what you're going to do is we're going to trace this on the paper, and we're going to make a 1-inch representation. You're going to take your paper, hand it out here. Can you hand that out? And on this paper at the top, you're going to write 1 inch. Is that speltation? Having a mental. That's perfect. So I'm going to pass this block out after you write 1-inch representation. Oh, I should have told you, put your paper lengthwise, like this.
Okay.
And write your 1 inch. Just turn it over and read it. Put your title there like that. And of course, you know, as with any paper we do in school, your name goes there, date over here. This is a standard format that I use. Yeah. And then I'm going to pass this around. Everybody can just take this. And you're just going to put it on your paper and trace it out. Try to center it in your paper.
Okay.
Like this.
Mhm.
There, and then just trace
the whole thing.
Just trace that block of wood.
Okay.
Okay, so while you guys are doing that, what we're doing is we're going to take one of these inches and we're blowing it up into this size of this block right here. And we're going to go over the increments. That's another one of our shop talk words. We're going to be going over the increments inside that 1-inch block. And the increments are all these lines that you see inside the inches. Oak? Yeah, it's a piece of oak. Hey, you know a little bit about shop. It's an old piece of oak I had laying in my backyard. I brought it just for this purpose. So now, you've got your block, or your tracing of your block. What I want you to do is just put a line at the bottom on each end like that. It doesn't touch the block, just kind of comes down as straight as you can. We're not going to use any rulers or straight edges for this. It's just going to be all hand drawing. And then you're going to put a 0 and a 1. Because this is our 1-inch representation. And 0 and a 1. Yeah. Now, like I told you, we're not going to measure this, so this is all just kind of guessing. And this is basically what people did when they first started measuring. The first people that laid inches out and feet and miles, they came up with arbitrary distance and then they made it a standard. I want you to divide it in half by eye the best you can. Put a line that goes up about, you know, not quite halfway up inside the block. Oh, you're cheating. You're using the line on the papers. You could just eyeball it. Yeah. Tim, just a little longer. Oh, yeah, a little bit longer. Now, that line represents what to you guys? You guys have an idea what we could say as to the whole? Yeah, it's halfway. Represents halfway. So underneath that line, you're going to just put 1/2. Here's a simple question, but it sounds like a trick one. So what could you say about this distance? It means
Half an inch.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then this is the other half, right? And it all totals up to how many halves?
2 halves.
Yep. So
Two
then
halves.
you're just gonna put 2, 2. So as you can see, we're running a little bit off fractions too. 2 over 2 is the same as 1, if you remember from your math classes. Now we're going to continue doing this. Now you're going to put a little shorter line halfway between these guys here. Just eyeball it the best you can, a little bit longer than one. Yeah, there you go, another one on the other side of the half. Yeah.
Okay.
Now how many spaces do we have?
4.
Four. So this first one represents 1/4. What do you think this middle one's gonna represent, Tim?
2/4.
Yep, 2/4. Which is also
A half.
1/2. And then this one here,
It's 3/4.
3/4. Now, what do you think we have at the end? How many total fourths?
4 fourths.
4 fourths. Yeah. These all mean
1.
1. Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna divide this in half again. Take your fourths and divide them in half. A little shorter of a line. How many spaces do you think you're gonna have?
8.
Eight. Have you noticed we're getting a little bit of a trend here? Half, 4, 8. Okay, the first one is 1/8. The second one is 2/8, and it's also 1/4. And then we got 3/8. And then we got a half, which is 2/4, which is also
4/8.
4/8. Then the next one is
5/8.
5/8, and then
6/8.
3/4 is gonna be 6/8. And then the last, well, it's not actually the last one, 7/8 is that one. And then under the 1, we've got
8/8.
8/8. Again, all the same number, 1. Yeah, so now we're getting there. What do you think the last increment of measure is gonna be? Laura or Anna, what do you think?
16.
16ths. So you're seeing the trend. 2, 4, 8, 16, it seems like we're doubling everything. Right? So now you put a little shorter line in between here. There. And these are 16ths. Now it starts to get a little cumbersome trying to write all these numbers in. Got 1/16, and then under the 1/8 you're going to have 2/16, and then you got 3/16. Under the 2/8, we've got 4/16. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this in, you guys fill yours in.
Okay.
Almost there, getting writer's cramp.
So I have a quick question.
Sure.
Is this
7.
mostly a wood shop type of designation?
Yeah, well, this is fractions from your math, but this is just in measuring.
Yeah.
You know, when you're measuring anything, you're measuring your grapes at home. A lot of people think, oh, what do I need to know how to measure for? One day you may own a house or renting an apartment, and you need to put blinds up, like these blinds over here. You can't just walk in Home Depot and say, hey, I want some blinds. They're gonna say, well, how big are your blinds? So you gotta measure the width and the length, so you need to know how to read this, so you can tell them so they can cut it the right size. So, I mean, this could be in construction or just in your own home, in your own lives. Everybody needs to know how to measure. It's a standard we
This is
use.
on camera.
Okay, everybody got it done?
Yeah.
Yes.
Got all your increments in there?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
now I'm
this
gonna
is
have
what
some
I'm on.
questions for you. These are gonna be tough questions.
Okay.
What's bigger? 3/8 or 7/16?
7/16.
7/16. I'll let you look at it. You can look
I
at it.
cheated, yes.
Yeah, it's okay to look at it. So a lot of people,
16th bigger.
a lot of people get, confused sometimes. What's bigger, 12/16 or 7/8? Which one's longer? 12/16 or 7/8?
7/8.
7/8. And 12/16 is also
3.
3/4, so you can reduce that in your head. I said 12/16, which really is the hard way to say it. It would have been easier for you to understand if I would have said 3/4,
Right.
which is another reason you guys learn reducing fractions in your math classes. Here's a place where you actually are going to use this when you're measuring. Now, when you're measuring stuff, I'm gonna pass out some boards here for you guys to try to measure, and you guys are catching this pretty quick, so you obviously have read one of these before. But I'm gonna pass out some boards for you to measure. And I want you to, sometimes you run into a problem when you're measuring something. You'll put something on a measuring stick and it'll come up and it might fit like right, maybe a little further, maybe like right in here. You know, and this thing is this long, whatever it is you're measuring. Now, these tapes are only incremented in 16ths. What do you think the next measurement down would have been?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. So we're laying in a 30-second here. Now is where you have to make the choice. You can't call out a 30-second because you don't have it on your tape. So what you have to do is round. And that is where you look at it and you try to see which side of that 16th it's lying on. Is it lying on the 13/16 or the 14/16 or 7/8? You know? So you have to round, and you always round up. It's always safer because you can always take more wood off. You can't add it on once you cut it. So you always round up, and this is the rounding I was talking about. And we have to learn how to do that. You might have to do these with these boards. I cut them myself, and they may not be super accurate. So now that you guys have got your 1-inch representation done, good. Turn them over, and you're just going to write 1 through 5. Just go straight down and write 1. This time you can put it the tall ways. Yeah.
Okay.
And then just number 1 through 5. And I've got 5 boards. And what we're going to do is pass these out. And everybody, there's a tape for you. You're going to pass these around. These are numbered. And put the length you get when you measure it on your number of your paper. And we'll see what you guys get, see how they turn out. And here's another one here. I'll hand out some tapes. Thank you. There you go. See you guys how that. Pass your wood around, share it. Now we'll see how good your reading skills are here. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to mention on these tapes real quickly here. Everybody look. If you look at your tape measure, it's loose here.
Mhm.
Have you ever wondered why that's loose? If you've
All
ever
the
used
time.
it? Okay, there's a reason it's loose. When you put it on here and you pull it this way, it stretches it. Let's say I needed to measure from this wall to this edge. It goes in. What this moves is the thickness of that piece of metal, so that it's accurate. So it moves that distance. If it's not moving, your tape's not going to be accurate if you ever go inside like this. So you got outside, inside. It adjusts for what you're doing.
I always wondered about that.
Another thing you got to look at is make sure that end isn't bent, or else you don't get a good accurate measurement. Okay. Give you guys a couple of minutes to do that. We'll see where
So
we're
is
at.
it appropriate to put down the inches and then the increment?
Yeah, we write it, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, I forgot to tell you. We're gonna be working with more than an inch, so you might have 5 plus whatever is left over, so it might be a half,
Jim, you want to give?
6
Tim?
3/4. I think you guys already knew this, but I should have mentioned it. Then you get behind, they're all getting ahead of you.
Because I measured
That's another way
twice
to do it, to make sure you're accurate.
and cut once.
You just gotta remember to subtract those 2 inches on there.
Yes.
Exactly.
If you add them, you have to take them away.
Did you get 4? 4. Yeah, Jim's doing something interesting. You see how he's holding his on a number? Rather than trusting the end of the hook in case it's bent, he's putting his tape on the number and then subtracting his total. And he's using the 2.
Oh, you were crafty on this one.
Hmm?
You were crafty.
Yeah, I did try to. It's
Yeah,
tough,
I
it's
know
tough
that
trying
I-
to cut real accurate though, you know, on a home saw, and I try my best to do on that.
Get them all?
Yeah. And the ladies are cooking right along.
Oh, no, I had this one already.
You know, unless you use these every day, it's a skill you kind of lose, you know,
Yeah.
as you're trying to
Thank
read.
you. Two, do you four?
One thing I didn't tell you could have done, if you couldn't remember your increments, you could have flipped your paper over
Oh.
to help cheat a little,
That's okay.
if you wanted to check. Which one you need, 4?
Four.
And 4 is right there.
Is it?
That's one.
No. Oh, Jim's holding the glass up.
He's trying to see.
That's okay.
He's adding math to his
Yeah.
equation.
Well,
I'm only missing 2.
What do you mean? 2? There it is right there.
Can I get four?
You can.
Well, I have a head cold, so my head does not want to add.
You can count on your fingers if you have to. Okay, wrap that up, and then I'm gonna go over these with you. We'll see who's done a good job and who hasn't. Who's been naughty and who's been nice.
Very season appropriate.
Remember, in our wood shop, we have a finite amount of wood, so I can't have you guys scrapping stuff out.
I'm done.
I don't like the rounding up. It makes total sense. You can always cut more.
You could always
wood off.
cut
You
more
can't
wood
add
off,
it.
but you can't add it.
Oh, he wants just to write it up.
And other than your previous shop teachers, I have all my fingers. Safety first.
I've got a scar from wood shop right there.
I got one too. I tried to take my thumb off. Okay, everybody's done? Now we're gonna do the test. Okay, let's see what we got here. Put my vision enhancers on.
There you go.
Okay, I've got for the first one, what do you have?
19
Yep, 19 3/8 is the winner. Everybody's got 19 3/8.
3/8.
Awesome. Where's number 2? There it is. Number 2, let's see what I get. Ooh, what do you have for number 2?
13 and 11/16.
11/16? Ooh, I don't know. Does that look like 11/16?
All right, put my.
Hey, vision enhancers on.
It did to me.
What did you
I
get?
I
measured
got
both
13
sides.
and 5/8.
It's 5/8.
Okay.
I measured both sides and it was 11/16.
You know what? There's a staple
Oh, I bet
stuck
I got
here.
the staple.
I'll bet you hooked that staple and it made it longer.
Here?
Yep, that's what it was.
Uh-huh.
I didn't catch that staple
Yeah,
on
but I didn't use the hook.
And what'd you get?
I got 11/16 and I rounded up.
Let's take a look. I'm on the 1, right?
Yeah, but I didn't measure from the middle, I measured from the
5/8
edge.
is the seam you use, 5/8 is the seam you stitch on a sewing machine.
Oh, really?
You see how it's halfway?
This is 11/16. It's right on the 7/8 or 5/8.
And I know
Okay.
you didn't
Yeah,
know.
it's an eyeball thing.
Because I crossed 5/8.
Well, I feel better. I got the.
Yeah, that staple got you for sure. Well, you know, holding it like this, you know, has its advantages because you know it's good. But what can happen too is it can move on you because it's not hooked.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and that's probably what happened to you. It probably moved a little bit. Did you get that too?
Yes, you did.
Everybody got that? 5/8?
5/8,
3 times
yeah.
now.
All right, now we're on number 3. What do you have for 3, Laura?
Well, I have 24 and an 1/8.
Is that what everybody's got?
I have.
Hmm.
That was a rounding one. You notice it's just a little short. You had to round this one up a little bit. Yeah, so it's 24 and an 8, yeah. Now we're on number 4. So, let's see, now number 4 is a tricky one. What'd you get on it when you measured it, Tim? I mean, Jim?
21 and 13/16.
21 and 13/16. So that would be a round down.
I got 21 7/8.
Yeah, you'd want to round this one up. See,
Okay.
again, it's tough to hold it on the end. It's better to use
So
the
round up.
What'd you guys get? Did you
I
have
got
to?
13/16.
You got 13/16 too. I mean, it's
did.
very close.
I rounded up to 22 inches.
22 inches.
Yes. I didn't want you to lose your wood.
Okay. Heaven forbid that.
So what was it, 21?
7/8.
Yeah, you had to round up on that one. And then this last one, what'd you get for the last one?
11 5/16.
That's what I.
11 and 5/16, everyone. Again, it's just a snit short of the 5, so you have to make sure you get the right. So yeah, that was pretty good. Everybody did that all right? Now, when it comes time to measure, you're not gonna make mistakes, right?
Right, absolutely not.
Okay, you can turn off the recording. Okay. Tomorrow you'll actually measure and start
Thank you so
cutting stuff.
much.
All right.
That's usually where I